Common spotted orchids, southern marsh orchid, early marsh orchid, bee orchid, common tway blade, man orchid, lizard orchid. I'm pretty sure I've missed one out as well. Swaddywell pit, probably easily Peterborough's most cosmopolitan orchid site. I think there's 9 different orchids have been seen here in recent years, so it's only the 20th of May today, and the reason for the trip out is to see how many different orchids I can find in flower this early in and around Peterborough. I'm going here on one other site. My goal is to find 5, which would be quite good for the 20th of May, so fingers crossed. As I say, starting off at Swaddywell pit, so I'm wandering across the top field. Let's see what we can find. As with 1 or 2 local sites last year, Swaddywell had a bit of a disaster in the first half of the season. It had been absolutely, well, it had been drowned basically. Lots of rain, lots of still water, and a huge absence of orchids compared with previous seasons when it was starting to do really well. So part of the trip here today is to prove to myself that they have recovered from last year's hammering. Oh, I can see something diminutive. Looks like a little common spotted, just starting to flower. There you go, tip one off, common spotted orchid. Always good to see the first one of the season. I'll tell you what, I wasn't expecting that. Another common spotted orchid, clearly identifiable as it started flowering, and it's a white form of the common spotted orchid. I can't count that as number 2, but yeah, that's a nice bonus. Used to be a pond here. It's always a damp section, not as damp as it used to be. It's where I saw my first ever early marsh orchids at Swaddywell many years ago. Since then there's been quite a few dotted around, but usually starting from this point. Always worth checking out around the fringes. Yeah, there's one over there by the looks. Could be our species number 2. Early marsh orchid. Good to see. I was fairly confident we'd see an early marsh starting out. I hope there's a few more. On a good season you can get a couple of dozen, if not more, at Swaddywell. Last year I don't think I saw one. They were pretty much drowned. That's good to see. Something else down here. Could this be number 3 already? Surely not. I think it is. No, I think it's common spotted. It is common spotted. Just for a moment from a distance I thought it might be a southern marsh, which you can get here, and I've got fingers crossed that we might see a young one emerging somewhere, but this one is common spotted. This is the area that used to be awash on a good season with early marsh and southern marsh. Is that a southern marsh down there? It's only just opening, but that is a Swaddywell Pit Southern Marsh Orchid. I hope I can find a better one, but that's number 3 in the bag. That's a nicer 3/4 open early marsh orchid, very good. There's a few of these dotted around. I wouldn't say there's huge numbers, but there's certainly a lot more than last year. And there's probably more to come. A nicely marked set of common spotted orchids emerging here. They'll look good in about a week's time. One of the orchids I forgot off that list early on was Autumn Lady's Tresses, of course. I think there are 9, if not 10, different orchids that can be seen here if you're lucky during the course of a season, but we found 3 already, which is most of the way to my target of 5. Quite happy with that, good start. Just going to have a look at what has traditionally been the sort of common spotted hotspot area, which last year was virtually barren. There were a few, but just literally a handful, whereas traditionally there's usually a couple of dozen minimum. So hopefully they'll be showing signs of returning. There's usually a lot of common spotteds here. To say there wasn't last year, and there's a little one down there coming through. Looking for the old spotted leaves. There certainly aren't too many showing. There's a good few weeks to come really in terms of common spotted, so I'm not going to jump to any conclusions yet. There doesn't look to be too many spotted rosettes around, but I won't write it off yet. We will check back later in the season. Well, that was good. 3 of my 5, 3 of my target of 5 already in the bag. I'm heading down now to the lower field and see if I can find anything that might be sticking its neck out. Possibilities would be, I don't know, bee orchid. Is it too early? Really too early? They're popping up just south of Peterborough, so there's a chance I might get one flower. Man orchid surely should be in flower, so that would make my 5. And you never know, it might be a bonus tway blade or something lurking down here. We'll have a look around. Any signs of bee orchids? I'm expecting this site to really dwindle away in the next few seasons. I hope I'm wrong, but they usually do. I mean, it used to be full of bee orchids 2-3 years ago, but something growing down there. I'm really no good at identifying orchids that aren't actually in flower yet. I'll suggest they are bee orchids, but I don't really know. But that's good if they are. This is the area where there were the majority of the bee orchids last season, including all the Belgarum variations. I mean, there's definitely appear to be rosettes down there, but a long way off from flowering. But they do look to still be there, which is good news. They look like they've been nipped as well, probably by rabbits, I would assume, but they'll make it through. Fingers crossed. Pressure's on now. Bee orchids are some distance away yet, so I've got to find some man orchids to at least get up to 4. As is always the case down here, the best of the man orchids are not so much in the cages, but over the fence. Nice and safe that side of the fence. A few more in the distance. Just coming across to the old bank, which for very many years was the site for man orchids here. But yeah, last season there wasn't any. I'm pretty confident there wasn't any. I had a good look on the bank, couldn't find a single man orchid, and they all seem to have shot across to the other side and are doing well on the opposite side of the reserve. But 1 or 2 have said no, they're still here. So I don't know, maybe I missed them. Not sure I can see from this side, it's too wet to cross, so just having a quick look. Can't really tell from here. As someone suggested, a pair of binoculars will do the trick, which I haven't got or haven't brought. There's usually something interesting down this tunnelled pathway. Always a few common spotted later in the season, and it's where the tway blades were, 2 tway blades last season, and a lot of water by the looks. Looks like the cage is back up. Well, it was up at the end of last season, but the tway blades seem to have gone. So hopefully they're back. I mean, there's the tway blade plant, but there's no stalk, no flowering stalk on it. There's actually a second one just under this. And that is the stalk, and that's just looks like it's been nipped off, but it's in a cage. So maybe they've only just put it in a cage. They're still there, but I can't count them because they're not in flower at all. It doesn't look like they will flower either. Shame. A couple of tiddlers down there, common spotted. A few spotted leaves in amongst the debris on the ground. Yeah, too early. Common spotted to come as ever down here. Right, leaving Swaddywell now. Found 4 of the 5 that I wanted. I thought I'd find a common tway blade, which I kind of did, but it doesn't look like it's going to flower this year, or it's tried and it's been nipped off somehow. Thought it was a slim chance of seeing a bee orchid, but there you go. It really is too early. I think Swaddywell's working to the 2023 timetable. Nothing particularly early up here, but happy with 4. I'm only going to do 1 more site because all the other big sites I'm going to be visiting in the next 10 days anyway, and I don't want to spoil that. But I'm not planning to visit Barnack Hills and Holes, and that's where I'm going next, because I'm hoping number 5 will either be a surviving early purple orchid, or better still, a very, very early common fragrant orchid or chalk fragrant orchid. So I will see you there, full of optimism, in about 2 seconds. That's 2 seconds during which the sun will come out. So welcome to a wonderfully sunny and warm Barnack Hills and Holes. What should be here? Hopefully the remnants of the early purple season. Man orchids will be here. I know we've ticked them off already, and I always have difficulties finding them at Barnack. Others don't, but I do. But I'm hopeful we'll see some, because they should be in the same place as the early purples. And then the big one for me is hopefully chalk fragrant orchid, common fragrant orchid, whatever you want to call it. Could just be opening, could be. Fingers crossed. Lots of knackered old early purple orchids down there. I need to find a good one, a survivor. That could be a decent one. It's not perfect, but there's enough flowers on that from midpoint upwards to say that is an early purple orchid. And that is number 5 for the day. Job done. Might find a better one, but I'm happy with that. I see a man orchid, I think. Yeah. A tiddler. I always struggle to find these. I mean, some seasons people say there's 10,000 plus here, and I can only find 2 or 3, but I just don't have an eye in for Barnack man orchids. They don't stand out as much. But that is a man orchid. That is a Barnack Hills and Holes man orchid. There's a better one. Right, man orchid's done. Just want to find, or give the chalk fragrant orchids a chance. They always tend to be a little bit further away from the usual corner where the other orchids grow, from vague recollection. So I hope I'm heading in the right direction. Be nice to make number 6. Oh. There's some colour on that bank. Don't think they're open yet. Pretty sure. Yeah, that's a chalk fragrant orchid down there, still in bud. Just got to find one that isn't nearby. Oh, that's possible. Very possible. Let's get down and have a look at that. I'm having that. Flowering at the bottom there. Chalk, or if you prefer common, fragrant orchid. That's orchid number 6. Good heavens. Not seen these before. Can't believe my eyes. Have we gone back in time? Look at this. Where have these come from? Tremendous. Not seen this collection before. I shall definitely be coming down here next year, a little bit earlier in the season. And they're much bigger than the ones I've seen elsewhere on Barnack's hills and hollows. Well, that one certainly is not hanging on. That one is absolutely fully in its prime. Very nice. That's a nice pale one, starting to go over in patches, but still nice. Pale pink, early purple orchid. That's a very nice, common fragrant orchid. Well on its way. Half out, 2/3 out. Really good. That's it. All done. 6. Wanted 5, found 6. Wasn't even confident I'd get 5, but yeah, it just goes to show. It was me sitting at home last night thinking, but nothing's going to be open yet. It just goes to show they're not fully open. Of course they're not. But it's still fun. Tracking down 6 on 2 sites is pretty good going, so I'm pleased with that. Where next? I think Bedford Purlius fly orchids. I think that's in my diary for the end of this week, so if the weather's good enough I'll go and check those out. Otherwise that'll roll into next week, and then it starts getting serious after that, and we're off to sort of meadows, heath spotted orchids, and even castor hanglands when it gets really explosive at the end of this month, start of June. So exciting times to come, hopefully. Thanks for joining me, much appreciated. As ever, if you haven't subscribed, I always appreciate subscriptions. It tells me somebody's watching, so just click on that button, smash that button in the bottom corner of the screen. That's all you need to do. It's nice and easy, and I will see you next time out.